I am here with Jessica Gregory. Thank you so much, Miss Jessica, with She's Meant. But I'm really excited to have you on this episode, more talking about women supporting women, not just in business, because we talk a lot about supporting women in business, but just in our professional and personal life as well. And I feel like when I was able to speak at your last conference, that's something that you are really starting to kind of move towards and move into. And I wanted to invite you to this episode because it's all about heroes that I've met in my life, people that I have encountered over my professional and personal life, who I felt like they have become their own hero, pulled themselves out of situations that weren't all that fantastic, put their own damn cape on, and then have the ability now to go and help save others and create more heroes. So thank you so much, Jessica.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it for coming into my home and having some coffee with me. And I always give my ladies the strong and beautiful coffee mug. And some pumpkin spice to go along with it too.
Because we're basic.
Yes, because we're basic. That's it. So thank you. So first of all, I just want to talk about She's Meant, because I want to be able to give you an opportunity to really kind of dive into the organization, how it was created, and then how we met. So it was kind of crazy how we met too. So
so She's Meant is a very new brand and community that I've started for women. And basically our goal, our mission is to help each woman become the woman she's meant to be, by discovering, live the life she's meant to live, by discovering, embracing, and becoming the woman she's meant to be. So discovering what makes her unique, her gifts, her talents, her passions, what she wants out of life. Those are all going to be different for each person, right? And then embracing who she is, the women around her, and that we're all different.
Right.
I think that's one of the biggest things about She's Meant, is embracing women and supporting women, whether or not you agree with them, and then becoming the woman you're meant to be. Going on that day-to-day journey of discovering your purpose, chasing after your purpose, and finding community to do it with.
Yeah, agreed. So we met at one of your conferences.
The second conference.
And I didn't have any clue what I was walking into, and walked into an Anytime Fitness.
Yeah. And
there your team was. Especially your friend with the fiery red hair. Oh my gosh. But I was like, wow, this group is got something. This is pretty interesting. So tell us about your conferences and what you hope to accomplish with the different ones that you're having over the course of a year.
Yeah. So one of my dreams, per se, and one of the visions I've held on to, is being on stage in like a football stadium sized place and just getting to pour out my heart to women. And so whenever I go to women's conferences, I feel that's stirring in my heart. And so, what better way to start building our platform than bringing women together and adding value to their lives? So the first conference was this past January 2018, and we gathered in one of my women's living room. Vina, she hosted the first one, and basically it was She's Meant to Make an Impact was the theme for that one. And I poured out my heart, what She's Meant is about, why I started it, what I think we're all here for, and what it means to make an impact in the world. And so it was, one of the best nights of my life, I think, because I felt like I was finally chasing after that vision that I've had for so many years.
It was quite a few ladies showed up,
yeah,
right?
Like 40 people in one living room. And it was, it was brand new. Nobody knew what She's Meant was. It was a lot of people there just supporting to support, I think. And it was so fun, though. It was BYOB. There were so many cars in that neighborhood. The cops were called.
No.
Dead serious. And I was like, we're hosting a conference.
Here we are.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know. I was on a high after that night.
Yeah.
And, there were tears, and there were people who said it changed their life. And so that's all I want, is to make an impact, whether it's just one person or way more than that. So then the second conference, so I'm a realtor full time, and we had some training at the office, and one of the ladies who's a preferred vendor, she's a home warranty person, Julie Altimus, spoke for a training, and she said she's a John Maxwell speaker, a certified John Maxwell speaker. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to meet this woman. Like, she said her passion was speaking to women, and she's building that for herself because that's her dream. And so I introduced myself, and I just got her number. And it was probably months later, I gave her a call, and I was like, I don't know if you remember me, but this is what I'm doing. Can you speak? And so she came and spoke at that conference where it was hosted in a Anytime Fitness studio.
Yeah.
And it was messy. I think not her, she was perfect. Right. I think the event as a whole was messy, but it led me to you and Kelsey, and I don't know, it was just very cool how God keeps showing me the next step, just like bit by bit. Right. And so then the third conference was where you spoke.
Yeah, which was so much fun, which is such a blast. And it came on the heels of all kinds of craziness happening in my life.
The week before was nuts for you.
It was. And I needed it as that moment for myself to say, okay, this is now my next step in my next journey. This is where I need to go. This is the conversation I need to have. And the conference was so amazing. We brought in a really good friend of mine, Kat's Cookies, supporting her new business and supporting women in business. And we were able to bring in a lot of other women along with supporting Kelsey's new salon and then hosting one of your conferences.
Yeah, it was very neat.
It was very cool to see all of these females who support and love each other. And I don't think we really start out that way when we're young. I often wonder why when we're young, especially in high school and sometimes in college, why we often see each girl as the enemy. And I feel like you and I were talking earlier that we always preferred to be around guys. I mean, we were a bros girl.
Yeah, guys girl for sure.
Guys girl. Because girls were catty and they were ugly. And even sometimes, even in the business world, they can be pretty nasty. So what have you found out there in the world supporting women in business and making sure that these friends of yours, your circle, and more women that you meet understand and know what their purpose is in life? Because I think that's the biggest thing that women have struggled with is, what is my purpose? It's not just being a wife, it's not just being a mom. Right. What is my ultimate purpose?
Right.
I think most people
might be being a mom.
It might be.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And so do we ever fully discover our purpose? I don't know the answer to that question. But yeah, so a big part of why I love She's Mint is we are accepting women no matter what your purpose is, no matter what your background is, no matter what your beliefs are. I mean, I know what my beliefs are. I know where my faith lies. But there is beauty in every person. And there's a different story that every person has. And so one of the reasons I love supporting women in business is because they, whether they're brand new or they're doing super well in business, they are chasing after something they want. And we need more people like that. Yeah. So I don't even know what your question was.
So, we talked about, the younger us, sometimes I think we could grab either and I do in my all the youth work that I do grab some 15-year-old girls and tell them you are enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you are beautiful, but unfortunately, when we're young, we're bombarded, you more with social media, I'm more with, MTV and 16 magazine.
Right.
Sweet 16 magazine, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
This unattainable image, right? Of what we're supposed to be and how perfect we are supposed to be.
I am not envious of young girls these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I just am not with social media and the pressure to be a certain type of person or wear a certain type of clothes. I mean, so you said, we were both guys, girls. And so a big piece about why I'm passionate about helping and loving women is because middle school, high school time frame, I felt kind of like a misfit. And so I think that's why I gravitated towards friendships with guys, is because they were easier to get along with.
Right.
I was an athlete. They, there wasn't drama. It was just like, your friendship is what it is. And it was just
No judgment.
no judgment, no pressure. I mean, I lived in basketball shorts and t-shirts. All were hand-me-downs. Like, I don't know. I just felt like kind of a dork for a long time. And so I had friends that were girls, and by no means was I bullied or anything like that. But there are just a few things that happened, a few things that were said to me on social media and, whatever, that I will never forget. And words have power, and girls were hurtful, and I couldn't rely on those friendships. So, I think that's a big piece of where my passion stems from. And like you said, I want to take a 12-year-old girl, 15-year-old girl, and say, like, you're beautiful. You don't have to change who you are to fit in. And if they judge you, that's their problem. Like, and I wish it stopped at 15. It doesn't.
I wish I could tell some 30, 40-year-old women that you are enough and you don't have to change who you are to be successful. Because I think sometimes once you start moving up in the business world, you feel like you have to become more rigid and more stern and more, steamroller type, boss to be able to be viewed as better or as, she knows her stuff. But unfortunately, I think it really kind of hurts who we are inside, because that's not who we are as women.
Yeah, it takes a lot more work to be somebody that you're not.
Right.
Or so as a business example, my coach, will ask me regularly, what is your, what makes you stand out? Everybody knows a realtor, right? Multiple.
Like, who are you?
Right. So what do you do differently? What makes you stand out? And never once has she said, well, this is what this person's doing. Maybe you should try that. Or this is what their value statement is. What if you try to copy them? No, that's not what I do. I'm finding what I do well, why I do what I do and what I do differently, and why I'll be the best realtor for you.
Right.
And that's not like anybody else. So why in my personal life would I do anything different than that? So,
that's something that's really kind of keen in on talking about, is a lot of women want to copy, the social media, or copy if they want to be a model or be seen as a fitness. And I see in the fitness industry a lot too, and the realtor, they've got the same picture on the billboard as, Anna over here and the girl next door, and it's the same picture, it's the same comments, it's the same words, so they all look the same. So standing out is important, but I think sometimes us as females, we go about it the wrong way. It's either we try to mimic someone else that's successful and that their heels that they're walking in, or sometimes we go down in the fitness industry, we get a little too scandalous and take off all of our clothes, and that's how we get followers.
Yeah. And it's tempting because it's so easy. Yeah. It's like pressing the easy button. And, just like I stand for accepting every woman how she is. I don't want to shame a girl who got 1 million followers because she posted butt pictures. Right. I mean, there's some work ethic and diligence and dedication behind that too. I mean, and she worked hard to get the butt that she's posting pictures of.
But it's not me.
Right.
It's not my personality.
So, and so, I guess that is how social media is, and it's hard, but everybody's journey is different, I think. So when you talk about embracing every woman, you changed it. Yeah. It was one way, and then you changed it again. Tell me about that. So when I first was brainstorming, brain dumping on paper, what She's Meant is, what our mission statement is, what my vision is for She's Meant, I came up with discovering the gifts, passions, talents, desires that make you unique. Mine are different than yours, and there are going to be women out there that are very similar to you, and that's awesome. And there are going to be people out there that are very different than you, and that's awesome. But discover those things about yourself. Like, you need to know yourself first if you're going to get anywhere.
Right.
And not just know yourself for who you feel like you need to be, but actually just know who you are now.
Which takes some alone time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Take some time to kind of really sit in a room alone and going, okay, who the heck am I?
Yeah.
That's a kind of tough one to do, is to look at yourself in the mirror and really get that raw with yourself.
Yeah.
Did you have that moment?
Yeah, and it took a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, and it kind of comes, for me, it came in, I'm still discovering more.
Right.
We're always changing. But for me, it came in bits and pieces. I wasn't, what am I trying to say? So after college, I moved in with one of my best friends, was sleeping on her couch. I was in a very transitional phase of my life, not necessarily a bad place, but just very, very transitional. And, was just kind of winging it, I think. And I will never forget, I was laying on the couch trying to sleep, and I just couldn't sleep. It was like God threw this vision at me. And that's the first time I just woke up, and I was like, okay, so my passion is helping women. All right, cool. And I didn't do anything with that for years. I mean, a few years. That was 4 years ago. But I held, like, that vision was so clear, and it was something that was so strong in my heart that it was there. I didn't, I got sidetracked. I got distracted. I did the life thing. And then when I had another transitional phase, when I quit my job, became a realtor, I started having all that alone time again. I started waking up to that passion again, and it came back, and this time I acted on it. So for me, it came in bits and pieces, and yes, you need alone time. You need to put pen to paper. I'm a big advocate for just writing. Yeah. Because being in our head is really hard, I think. It's hard to get your heart out. And so, if somebody's like, well, I don't know what I like. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know. I'm just like, start writing. Yeah. Start writing. And if you need to do it every day for a year, do it every day for a year. Yeah. And
if you don't like writing, record it.
Yeah. Just talk to yourself on your voice memo. Like, whatever it is, like, get to know yourself first. Yeah. And so that's the discover aspect. And then, so discover, embrace, become was the original mission statement I came up with. Embrace, those things about you and that you're different, and then become the woman you're meant to be, going on that day-to-day journey. Well, I came back after this third conference. I was talking to my mom, and we were brainstorming, and I changed it to embrace who you are, the women around you, and that we're all different. Yeah. Like,
that's huge.
I don't agree with everybody, and me and the women on my team, they're amazing, and we have different viewpoints on things, and I think that's why we're awesome, and that's why our women's brand is going to be different from the million others on Instagram or wherever, is because we purposely are looking for people that are different.
Right.
So.
Which is good, because if you're hanging around a bunch of like-minded people, at what moment in time are you going to be able to have an out-of-box thought, or have a different opinion that may take you into a direction that you never thought you could go before? So the embrace, what does that mean, to embrace other women around you and embrace their differences? What does that really truly mean to you? What does that look like from your perspective? And how does that help you become a better woman to help others and be that hero that I talk about?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I think of is, like, women that I've met, and when you meet a woman or a person in general, but when you meet a woman and you just don't vibe. Right. And that's okay. Like, that's the first thing I'll say, is it's okay if you're not everybody's best friend material, and not everybody's going to be your best friend material. Right. And that's totally fine. But making yourself see why they're different, how they're different, and acknowledging the fact that it's okay, and that they have things about them that are so unique and so beautiful. Like, I don't know, and I'm not perfect at this by any means. I just really, really think that too many people are trying to fit a mold. And so instead of us trying to change the mold, why don't we just get rid of it?
Right.
You know? So
I think it's more of sitting down and looking at that person and saying, tell me about yourself, and just shutting up.
yeah. Yeah.
And just learning about that person. Learn about why they are who they are. Why do they walk the way they walk? Why do they have the walls that they have up? Why do you get that vibe? I think it's just really kind of sitting down and just saying, tell me who you are.
And then listening.
Listening.
Yeah. And so religion, politics, all those things, they come between people.
They do.
They ruin relationships.
They do.
All those, deep topics.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's where so many of us are going wrong. Like, I don't like talking about politics. I believe strongly, in my faith is strong, but I want to hear your story.
Right.
I want to hear what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I might totally disagree, but do I have to tell you that? No.
No.
Can we have a civil conversation and still be friends?
Yeah.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the embracing part that really kind of pushes me to want to sit down with different types of women and understand their story, because I tell my son all the time, and this is what I tell other girls, is hurt people.
Yeah.
And so
That's
if
good.
you don't truly kind of sit down and look at someone in their face and say, I really want to understand you, and I'm not here to judge, I truly just want to understand who you are, you may not be their best friend, but damn, you're going to gain a whole lot of knowledge. You're going to gain a whole lot of understanding. You're going to gain so much more from that human being and that person, and a contact, and maybe even a future supporter.
Right.
But there's so much more understanding, and then that opens up your life to other thoughts and other ideas and potentially other people that you may have never met before, just by just sitting down and saying, hey, tell me about yourself.
Yeah. And they need that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how competent a person comes across as, but we all need people who just accept us and ask us questions about ourselves and, see that we're different and accept us the way we are.
Because I sometimes feel like we're still that 15-year-old girl looking in the mirror asking ourselves if we're good enough.
Yeah.
Still at 40 years old,
for
my
sure.
age.
For sure.
Are we good enough? I've been on a couple of interviews. I know my stuff. I am, but you still ask yourself, am I good enough?
Yeah. And I think I am getting better at accepting myself, and I still have insecurities that I work through and giants that I'm trying to face.
Your own Goliath.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. One of the things I told people is a way to get... Actually, I think my mom is the first one who said something. I was, for whatever reason, showing her my outfit for the day, and I was telling her I felt, insecure. Like, I feel like I look silly. Like, does this outfit make me look fat type thing? And she was like, you're thinking too much about yourself.
Oh.
And I don't think that's exactly how she said it, but she essentially said, you're thinking too much about yourself. Why don't you start focusing on what the people around you? Like, think about the people around you.
Right.
And so what I took from that is, okay, so when I am... Because we all have those days. I don't care how good of shape you are in.
Right.
I don't care how cute your outfit is. You can put the cutest dang outfit on, and you could still feel insecure for whatever reason. Like, it could be the same outfit that you loved 2 weeks ago, but for whatever reason, today it's not vibing. And so on those types of days, I'm intentional, and I think we all need to be intentional about, like, remembering, first off, everybody has their insecurities, and they're probably focused more on their own than yours.
Right.
They're not noticing your outfit, so why don't you go out of your way to compliment somebody else on something that they might be self-conscious about, right? Because they might be having the same type of day.
Right.
And drawing that attention to somebody else, I think, is more powerful than getting validation about your outfit.
I I love it. I love mamas.
My mom's awesome.
I love mamas. But she's right. You know, you're just like, oh my gosh, girl, you were thinking way too much about yourself. Why don't you start looking out?
Yeah.
And start taking care of the people that are around you and loving on them.
Right.
And making them feel loved, because we see so little of that these days on social media, you know, in person, especially when I'm driving. People tell me I'm number one all the time, but it's not the number one you think I'm saying. But I mean, it's time to start loving on each other. Say hi, give someone a hug, give a smile, tell them they look beautiful. I'm a shoe person. If I see some awesome shoes,
me too.
I'm like,
shoes are my love language. I will tell everybody I love your shoes. But yeah, insecurities are essentially too much attention on yourself.
Yep.
And so if we could all just, you know, stop thinking about ourselves so much and go tell some women that you love their shoes, and not in a mean girls type of way. Like, oh my God, I love your bracelet. Where'd you get it? Like genuine, you know, you could think that they're ugly, or that they just don't look like they take care of themselves, or they have a terrible personality, but there's something about them that's special.
Right.
So genuinely look for that thing and point it out to them, because they need it.
Which is
who they are.
amazing about embracing other women around you.
Yeah.
So on the discovery side, which we all are still discovering our purpose, what are some of the things that you've done to help on your discovery journey of your purpose? What are some tips and tricks that you can put out there to help other women start their discovery?
Journaling, first off. Right. Journaling, I think, is one of the bigger ones. Just, you're not going to see how far you come unless it's somewhere that you get to look back and see. So I don't journal as much as I should, but I absolutely love going back. And whether it's a prayer journal or a goal journal or just a brain dump type of journal, I don't care. But like, I love going back and looking at what I wrote and what my goals were and what my prayers were. You know, 3 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, and seeing what stage of life I was in that I didn't remember, or that I just, you see life differently, just memories wise. So write it down. And I know, like, journaling is so overrated to so many people, and getting started is the hardest part, but just start writing. And whether it's once a week, once a month, like, just start writing your goals, your dreams, who you are, who you feel like you want to be, and keep those, because I think that's super special. And then setting goals is a big one for me, and a big passion, you know, that I have. Yes, I want to help women and embrace women and love women, but I also want to push women outside of their comfort zones and push them to do what they want to do and chase after what they want. And a big part of that is mastering goal setting. I'm still mastering it, but I think it's huge. If you don't write down your goals, you're way, you know, you're just behind.
I feel like writing down your goals is the same thing as my daily to-do list.
Yeah, it's absolutely crucial.
It's huge. It's so big. Like one of my goals was the podcast. And as soon as I was talking about a podcast, and as soon as I was laid off, my husband was like, okay.
You have the time now.
You have the time now. And I was like, well, but that back room in the back of my house is just filled with gym equipment that I don't use because I go to a gym. I was like, but right now I've got to go take care of my dad. And so rushing down there to Beaumont, going and taking care of my dad, and then coming back to a whole podcast room that is completely done and cleaned out, and all the equipment is bought along with the camera and everything else, was pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
But then my husband told me, okay, what are your goals with your podcast? Go ahead and write them down.
What is your excuse now?
Yeah, what's your excuse now? So I had to write down goals. When did I want to publish my first podcast? You know, who did I want to invite? What were some of the topics that I wanted to talk about on? Who were my guests? Start scheduling guests, you know. And so finally my first podcast, I said I wanted to release a week after I got back from my show. And I released it to the day.
That's awesome. I love it.
The YouTube channel and, you know, my book. I mean, there's so many things that I'm working on, and now trying to find a new job. There's a lot. And if you don't write them down, it's going to be really difficult to accomplish what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you got the big goals. So sometimes those can be kind of overwhelming. So do you have little baby celebrations when you
Yes.
celebrate the tiny goals?
Well, yes, and I I don't know about celebrations.
You should.
I know I should. New pair of shoes every time I cross it off. No, I'm just kidding. Big goals are awesome, and I think those big goals never quite leave our brain, but there's something about writing them down that has power. And I don't know what it is. You can say, it's God answering prayers. You can say it's the universe bringing to you, like whatever it is, but it somehow always comes back at some point.
Right.
And so, yeah, put it out there first off so you don't forget, and second off, I don't know. I think writing things is so powerful. As far as little baby steps, that's kind of what I focus on. And personally, I need to get better at the 90-day vision, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, and keeping those at the forefront. But I'm a lot better at doing short-term, week-by-week goals. And it's actually my goal-setting method I taught at the first conference.
Nice.
Just to give people, yes, we want to make an impact. We can all say yes to that. So what do? We need to start by setting goals and discovering those things. So, yeah.
So what's next with She's Mint and Jessica and team?
That is the $1 million question.
So we've got shirts and we've got
Yes.
tank tops. So I'm going to get a link and be able to put that in my YouTube channel and also on this podcast so you can go and buy a She's Mint shirt. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. I'm going to take a picture with me wearing one and put it at the end of this YouTube podcast.
Yay.
So you'll be able to see one. But what's next? What's going on besides apparel?
Yeah, so the apparel was fun. Business-wise, I probably should have waited a little bit longer to spend all the money on the merch, but it's fun to have that and make it feel more tangible for people. So we will be doing a launch at some point, an official, launch, and we don't even have our website set up fully yet. So lots of logistical things, but for now, just getting our name out there, building relationships, talking to people, and then conferences are going to be a big thing for a while. So adding that value and bringing in people like you and building our network. So conferences, and then we like to do ladies' nights ever so often as well. So,
which is so needed.
Yeah, just girl time.
Girl
Wine,
time. Yeah.
bring your own snack,
Laugh, giggle, have fun, which is huge. And I do talk about that in my book, is talk about that time for yourself, and not just time for yourself with your husband and your kiddo, but time with your girls.
Yeah.
Just that reconnection and the contact with your girlfriends that just makes you feel so much more supported and so much more loved by those people. Because at that, that's your crew, that's your circle.
Yeah, people need those strong relationships. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because life is going to happen. Mm-hmm. Stuff is going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
And
you need your girl gang.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, you need a girl gang that won't judge you.
Yeah. That when you're getting the ugly cry, like ugly, like sniffly, ugly cry, they're going to be, it's okay, baby, here's some chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's taken me a long time to find that girl crew.
Yeah.
Did it take you a while to find that crew?
Yeah, and it's changed.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't really have a soul sister type relationship until college. And, I had several really good friends in college and, a few that have stuck. But honestly, my She's Mint crew, they are my ride or dies for sure. I mean, I don't know why those 4 stuck, but they are just amazing. And, I don't know. They're the day ones, and they're people that truly know me and each other, and we just kind of accept each other in each of our phases of life. We all have super different stories and very different belief systems and talents and things, but I think, I don't know, it's very special. So yeah, it did take me a while, but I have them, and if it changes a little bit or add or whatever, that's always okay too. So
I think there was a very valuable lesson that I learned a long time ago from a pastor of mine. He said that you are a building that's being built over time, and there's scaffolding that supports that building at that moment in time while the bricks are being laid. And that scaffolding can sometimes be people. Once that part of the building is done, these people have to walk away. They were there to support you in that moment and that time that you needed, and then it was their moment to leave. Sometimes I would just get really so brokenhearted and so upset and lock myself down on developing other relationships because this person left.
Yeah.
And then other people are bricks. Mm-hmm. They're going to be there through the entire process, no matter what.
Yeah, that's cool. An example like that my mom, here she is again,
changing
my life. She, I was in high school and I felt pressure to be everybody's best friend. Oh. And I still feel that. I'm reaching women, I'm all about She's Mint. I need to be everybody's like number one. Mm-hmm. I need to be, I need to be there for everybody.
Right.
But one of the things that she said is even Jesus had circles, and his inner circle was his, 2 or 3 best friends, James, John, whoever else. And then he had his 12 disciples, and those 12 weren't even his closest. Mm-mm. And then he had, the larger circle of followers, and so they all were his friends, and they were all following him, but they all were different levels, and that's okay.
That's okay.
And he loved them all, no matter their differences.
Yeah.
Matthew the tax collector.
Right.
Nothing in common, but he loved him. Mm-hmm. Was he his best friend? No, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But he was still there, so.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Good mom.
Yeah. Love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom. Thanks, moms.
Seriously. She's a game changer.
What would we do with that? Yeah, what would we do? And talk about amazing, strong females in our lives that show us, how important it is to support each other and support females in business and in personal growth. And whether their personal growth is struggling at that moment in time or it's going really well, loving them in that moment, wherever they're at, is really difficult. Because I feel like sometimes I've lost friends because either I've been going really successful and they weren't, and they left, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Because we were moving in a different path.
Yeah, it is okay.
It is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So finding your circle, I like that.
Yeah,
Jesus good. Even had a circle.
He did. He had a few of them. Yep.
I love it. So please give us all of your social media tags and information for She's Mint so we can figure out how to go find these cool, nifty shirts that are long sleeve and crop top that I'm going to take a picture with here pretty soon.
Yes. So Instagram is She's Mint. Mm-hmm. SHESMEANT. And then Facebook is, / She's Mint at the end. And our website will be shesmint.com. It's not live yet, but it's getting there. So that'll be exciting. And then Twitter, we're She's Mint as well. So, yeah, come be part of the tribe. And I'm excited. I'm excited for where we're headed for sure. And
2020 is looking pretty fun.
Yes, it is.
So be looking for conferences, girls' nights coming up soon in 2020. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast, Be the Hero and Rescue Yourself with Kelly Fullman. If you enjoyed listening to my podcast or watching this YouTube video, please follow or subscribe to my channel and walk with me through my journey of celebrating my very own heroes and an opportunity to learn the valuable lessons they taught me over the years, which allowed me to gain the courage to wear my very own cape and be the hero of my life. You can also follow me on Instagram at K Fullman, that's KFUHLMAN, at Facebook, / K Fullman1, or on LinkedIn, Kelly Fullman MBA. Also, please leave your comments below because I see feedback as a gift, and it will guide me on how to help you gain the courage you need to rescue yourself. Be sweet, y'all. Thanks.